Hello and welcome to the Quizmaster Challenge, the academic quiz show featuring the brightest students in Montgomery County schools. I'm Kurt Richter, and I'm the Quizmaster. And today I'll challenge these young minds as they challenge each other in a battle of brains and buzzer speed. We'll see who wins today's match and moves on to the next round. Today we have a quarterfinal match between two strong teams, the Wildcats of Walter Johnson High School in Bethesda and the Bulldogs of Winston Churchill High School in Potomac. Let's get started with our opening round, the Four Corners round. Teams, you'll have a chance to answer blocks of 4 questions worth 20 points each and no penalty for a wrong answer. We flipped a coin before the show and Churchill won the toss. So Churchill, please choose from among our 4 categories today: Olympic history, the year 1966, world dance, and A in science.
Do we have A in science, please?
Okay, the answers to all the questions in this science category begin with A. What A word, also used in the health sciences for superficial skin damage, is a word that scientists use for erosion caused when rocks, other materials, or glaciers scrape against land surfaces? Have an answer for me?
Abrasion.
It's abrasion.
Oh.
Sorry. For another 20 points, what A word has the scientific definition of the horizontal movement of an air mass?
Oh. Air mass? Oh, moving a front, so what would that be?
Got an answer for me?
Alteration.
It's advection. Advection. Next, what 4-letter adjective beginning with A describes very dry regions of the earth in which there is very little rainfall?
Arid.
That's right. And finally, what instrument or meter starting with the letter A measures the speed of the wind?
Oh, ooh.
It starts. Yeah. Barometer.
Have an answer for me?
Aerometer.
It is an anemometer. Tough category. 1 question worth 20 points. Let's now go to WJ. Please choose from among our 3 remaining categories.
The year 1966.
Okay. For your first chance at 20 points, in January of the year 1966, what president reaffirmed the commitment of U.S. troops in Vietnam?
LBJ.
That's right. For another 20 points, a hovercraft service over what European body of water began in April 1966 and continued until 2000 with the opening of the Channel?
English Channel. Yeah. English Channel.
English Channel is right. In August of 1966, ground was broken on what complex of New York office buildings, which would include the Twin Towers, which were the target of the attacks on September 11th, 2001?
World Trade Centers.
You got it right. And to close out the category, the year 1966 ended with the first celebration of what 7-day holiday that commemorates African-American family, community, and culture?
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa is right. You got all of them for 80 points. Now, please choose a category to give to Churchill.
World Dance. Okay. World Dance.
World Dance. Okay, Churchill, for your first chance at 20 points in the category of World Dance, what dance, with its roots in Africa and Rio de Janeiro, has become a symbol of Brazil, and in particular, Brazilian Carnival?
Samba.
Samba's right. For another 20 points, what 8-person dance originated in the 17th century England, but is so closely associated with the United States that 19 states have named it the state dance?
Square dance.
It's not 8-letter.
No, that's 8.
Square dance.
Square dance is right. Now, what is the name of the smooth, progressive ballroom dance that originated in the 16th century, Austria and Germany, and is performed in 3/4 time by 2 dancers in close position?
The waltz.
The waltz is correct. And to close out the category World Dance, what lively Italian dance, usually performed in 6/8 time, was named for a spider?
Tarantella.
Tarantella is correct. You got all 4 there for 80 points. Okay, now we're going to go back and do Olympic history. For your first chance at 20 points on Olympic history, the United States led a 65-nation boycott of the 1980 Summer Olympics due to the Soviet Union's war in what country?
Afghanistan.
That's right. Next, the Soviet Union boycotted the Summer Olympics in 1984, held in what American city?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles is right. For another 20 points, Jesse Owens answered Nazi propaganda of Aryan superiority by winning 4 gold medals in the 1936 Olympics in what city?
Berlin. Berlin.
Berlin is correct. And to wrap up this category, Sage Kostenberg, who was the first American to win a gold medal at the Winter Olympics in Sochi this year, won the gold in what event?
Snowboarding slope style.
You got that right. So at the end of our first round, we have a score of WJ 160 and Churchill 100. Let's move on to our 10-point toss-up round. Teams, you'll have a chance to answer toss-up questions worth 10 points each. There's no penalty for a wrong answer, but if you're wrong, the other team will get to hear the question in its entirety. So hands on your buzzers, teams. Let's get started. For 10 points, our first up for grabs is on the infamous. Earning his well-known nickname around 451 AD and once claiming to reign from the Alps to the Baltic Sea,
Walter Johnson.
Attila.
Attila is correct. Next for 10 points, here's a question on science and scientists. What physicist and mathematician discovered the binomial theorem and
Churchill.
Physicist Pascal. Yeah.
Pascal.
Though Pascal is involved, that's not the answer I'm looking for. He also experimented with light, which he wrote about in his book Optics, and his
Walter Johnson.
Newton.
Newton is correct. For 10 points on pop music, what best-selling British pop girls group formed in 1994?
Churchill.
Spice Girls.
Spice Girls is right. Let's go to the monitor players for a visual question on food and drink. What are these small?
Churchill.
Nerds.
They are nerds. Our next topic is on World War II. Germany and what other European nation signed the Pact of Steel?
Churchill.
Russia. Pact of Steel would be Russia. Italy. USSR. Russia. Or USSR.
USSR.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. It's formally titled the Pact of Friendship and Alliance in 1939.
Walter Johnson.
Yeah. Okay.
United Kingdom.
No, Germany signed a pact with Italy.
Oh,
Our next 10-point toss-up is in the category 20th century fiction. What disturbing Anthony Burgess novel revolves around,
Churchill.
A Clockwork Orange.
right, made into a movie by Stanley Kubrick. Halfway through this round, we have a score of WJ 180 and Churchill 130. Let's continue with our 10-point toss-ups with this question on environmental science. The city of Bhopal, in what Asian country, was subjected to the devastating results of an environmental accident in 1984?
Churchill.
Chernobyl's 84. Ukraine. That's not Asian. Ukraine is in Asia.
Need an answer from you.
Ukraine.
It is not Ukraine. This accident in 1984, 80,000 pounds of methyl isocyanate escaped from a storage tank at a Union Carbide plant, killing and injuring tens of thousands of people.
Walter Johnson.
Union Carbide, wasn't that India? Yeah, probably India.
India is correct. Teams, grab pencil and paper and check the monitor for this 10-point math question.
Walter Johnson.
2x y.
Need an answer from you.
2x squared y squared.
Say it again.
2x squared y squared.
Sorry, that is incorrect. Simplify this expression, giving your answer as a quotient with positive exponents.
Churchill.
X squared, Y squared over 4.
You got it right. For 10 points, answer this question on American authors.
Walter
Hold on.
Johnson.
Although he wrote Good as Gold and We Bombed in New Haven, what writer is better known for his humorous novel about an American bombardier's deep-seated survival anxieties during World War II, entitled Catch-22?
Churchill.
Heller.
Heller is correct. Here's our next 10-point toss-up on biology. What organelle found in plants has a double membrane?
Churchill.
Chloroplast.
The chloroplast is correct. Here's a selected response question on physics. Listen carefully to the following list. Electric field, electric force, electric potential. Which one is not a vector?
Churchill.
Electric potential.
Electric potential.
That's right. And to finish off our 10-point round, here's a question on the cinema. In 1978, John Carpenter directed the first film in the stylistic and scary horror film series, which included at least 9 follow-up films.
Churchill.
Alien or Predator?
Alien.
Nope, it's not Alien. Including one captured Resurrection and one 20 years later, and was named for a frightening holiday in October.
Walter
Halloween.
Johnson.
Yeah, Halloween.
It is the Halloween. And that completes our second round with a score of Walter Johnson 200 and Churchill 170. Now that we're halfway through, let's take a moment to meet the contestants here on the Quizmaster Challenge, beginning with the Walter Johnson Wildcats.
Hi, I'm a sophomore. I'm Gideon Epstein, and I'd like to thank our alternates, Fahad Masood and Ho Jung Yang.
Hi, I'm Tommy Tripp. I'm a sophomore, and I would like to thank our coach, Stuart Safford.
Hi, I'm Nathan Fedman. I'm a 17-year-old senior. I'd like to thank Jennifer Baker, our principal, and all our support from our Walter Johnson community.
Hi, I'm Alan Kaplan. I'm a 17-year-old senior, and I would like to thank Taj Bilal and Samin Keshav.
The coach of the Walter Johnson team is Stuart Safford. Mr. Safford teaches chemistry and physics and has been working with its academic team for 6 years and has been the head coach for 4 years. Now let's meet the Churchill Bulldogs.
Hey, I'm Yusuf Khan. I'm a 17-year-old senior at Winston Churchill High School. I'd like to thank our alternates, Michelle and Yash, for their support.
Hi, I'm Nikhil Parancherry. I'm a 17-year-old senior, and I'd like to thank our wonderful coach, Mr. Hazard.
Hello, I'm Dominic Singer, and I'm a 17-year-old senior, and I'd like to thank our wonderful principal, Dr. Benz.
Hi, I'm Andrew Crutchfield. I'm a 17-year-old senior, and I'd like to thank our wonderful economics and multivariable calculus teacher, Ms. Malinowski, as well as our other alternate, Matthew Collins.
The coach of the Churchill team is Mr. Neil Hazard, a parent volunteer who is in his 3rd year coaching the team. So thanks for being here today, and I'd also like to say thanks to the student crew at Richard Montgomery High School. Under the direction of Eric Rodney, they make our broadcast possible. So we're going to move to our 3rd round. This is the 15-point toss-up round. Once again, you'll have a chance to buzz in and answer toss-ups, only this time worth 15 points. No penalty for a wrong answer, but again, the other team will get to hear the entire question. So hands on your buzzers and let's get started. Our first toss-up is on world geography. Lake Bunyonyi, described in the Wall Street Journal in January 2014 as a picture-perfect body of water, is found in the southwestern part of what country? Which also...
Walter Johnson.
Norway.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Of what country? Which also contains the northern half of Lake Victoria.
Churchill.
Kenya.
Sorry, it's Uganda. Our next question is on literature. In Shirley Jackson's short story, The Lottery, what prize does the lottery...
Churchill.
Stoning to death.
That's right, we offer better prizes here. Players, look at the monitor for this next 15-point visual question on women in history. Who is this feminist founder of Miss Magazine, who headed up the National Women's Political Caucus in 1971, co-founded the Women's Media Center in 2005, and continues to speak and write on women's issues?
Churchill.
Annie Leibovitz.
No,
Annie
that's way-
Leibovitz.
Leibowitz.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Question's complete if you want it.
She kind of looks like that.
That's Gloria Steinem there. For 15 points, here's a selected response question on literature. Listen to this list. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Around the World in 80 Days.
Walter Johnson.
Vern.
I'm sorry, not what I'm looking for in this one. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Which of these numerical adventures was not written by Jules Verne?
Churchill.
3rd choice, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, that's right, written by Arthur C. Clarke.
Okay.
Our next 15-point toss-up deals with natural disasters. What volcanic eruption killed more than 90,000?
Churchill.
Yeah. No, Vesuvius. 90,000. Pompeii. Vesuvius.
Mount Vesuvius.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Killed more than 90,000 Indonesians
Sorry.
in 1815.
Walter Johnson.
Krakatoa.
Nope, it's Mount Tambora.
Oh.
Okay, check the monitor, players, for this 15-point visual question on rare animal species. What is the name of this primate? Found in dense tropical rainforests in Guinea, Western Kenya, and the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Walter Johnson.
Bush baby.
That's not a bush baby.
Churchill.
What's a capybara? Is that I have no idea. Capybara.
No, that's actually a Pato. Difficult question right there. But halfway through this round, the score is tied at 200. Let's continue with the 15-point question on U.S. geography. In what state is found the Great Lake of the Cherokees? The same state which the Cherokees were forced to relocate.
Churchill.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma is correct. Here's a 15-point question on literary terms. What is the name of the verse that has these characteristics? 19 lines, 6 stanzas, including 5 3-line stanzas and 1 4-line stanza. The first and third line of each tercet rhyming, and the last 2 lines of the quatrain.
Walter Johnson.
Okay.
Sonnet.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect.
I've heard it.
The question's complete.
Churchill.
Limerick.
It's called a villanelle. Okay, back to the monitors player for this 15-point visual question on sports. Which of these men is the only basketball player to have scored 100 points?
Will Chamberlain.
Churchill.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Well, Chamberlain, you knew that one. Here's a 15-point question on philosophy. What Latin phrase, which means against the person, stands for a verbal attack aimed at...
Walter Johnson.
Yeah.
Ad hominem.
Ab hominem is correct. Usually they're lacking in substance, that argument. Here's a 15-point selective response question on vocabulary. Listen to this list. Pejorative, penurious, plebeian. Which of these words means expressing contempt?
Churchill.
Pejorative.
That's correct. And we wrap up this third round with a 15-pointer on economics and current events. In November 2013, Pope Francis criticized what economic theory?
Churchill.
Trickle down.
Trickle down.
Or capitalism. Choose.
Capitalism.
No, not what I'm looking for there. This theory proposes tax cuts and other economic benefits provided to business and upper income people that will flow down to others in society.
Walter Johnson.
Trickle down.
Trickle down, it is trickle down. And at the end of our third round, we have a score of Churchill 245, WJ 230. We're now going to move to the bonus round. Teams, you'll have a chance to answer toss-ups worth 15 points each. Once again, no penalty for a wrong answer. But if you're right, you'll have an opportunity to earn bonus points worth 20, 25, or 30 points. So hands on your buzzers, and let's go. Our first toss-up is on consumer science, giving you a chance at a 30-point bonus on bodies of water. Here's the toss-up. What is the trade name for botulinum toxin type A, which when purified to a form...
Walter Johnson.
Botox.
Botox is correct. Here's your bonus. 10 points each and 30 points for all three. Answer these questions on bodies of water. First, what stately river joins the Kansas at Kansas City?
Missouri.
The Missouri is correct. What bay off Pitcairn Island is named for the ship that was burned and sunk in its waters January 23rd, 1790?
The Bounty.
Bounty Bay is correct. And finally, what Arctic Sea is named for the British naval officer who devised a wind scale?
Ross.
No, it's the Beaufort scale. We're playing now for a 20-point bonus on Mark Twain, but here's a 15-point visual question on architecture. Look at the monitor for this.
Churchill.
Falling Water by Frank Lloyd Wright.
That's right. For 10 points each, 20 points for both, answer these questions on Mark Twain. Although he was born in Florida, Missouri, Twain grew up in what Missouri town that lies on the Mississippi River, where you can visit his boyhood home museum?
It's not St. Joseph. St. Lucia or St.
Need an answer?
St. Joseph.
It's Hannibal. And now, Twain was born and he died during what celestial event that happens every 76 years?
Yep.
Halley's Comet.
Halley's Comet is correct. Right now, we have a score of Churchill 270, WJ 265. Here's your next 15-point toss-up on governors, giving you a chance at a 25-point bonus on characters in great books. The U.S. governor with the highest yearly salary is Tom Corbett. From what state?
Walter Johnson.
Corbin is Michigan. No, that's not fine. Michigan.
Sorry, that's incorrect. From what state? Known as the Keystone State.
Pennsylvania.
Winston Churchill.
Pennsylvania.
It is Pennsylvania. Now here's your 25-point bonus on characters in great books. For each 5-point question, what book features the characters listed? Porfiry, Pulcheria, Alyona Ivanovova, Raskovnikov, and Sonia.
Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment is right. Zenobia Frome, Miss Ned Hale, Michael Eady, Maddie Silver, Dennis Eady.
Ethan Frome is Wharton, but no. Ethan Frome.
Ethan Frome is right. Pip, Miss Havisham, Matthew Pocket, Jaggers, Molly Estella.
Great Expectations.
That's right. Nick Carraway, George Wilson, Myrtle Wilson, Daisy Buchanan, Tom Buchanan.
The Great Gatsby.
That's right. D'Artagnan, Athos, Aramis, Porthos, Lady de Winter.
The Three Musketeers.
Three Musketeers is correct. Okay, we have a 30-point bonus on European history, but here's a 15-point visual question on international travel. Check the monitor, players. For whom is the international airport in Rome?
Churchill.
Yeah.
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci is right. Good job. You earn 10 points for each of these 3 questions on European history. Who was crowned emperor in 1066 after Harold was killed at the Battle of Hastings?
William the Conqueror.
That's correct. Thousands of Europeans died in the winter of 1709 from what condition? Caused in part by low sunspot activity.
Cold hypothermia.
Hypothermia.
Good job. And finally, what long war between the kingdoms of France and England and their respective allies began in 1337?
The 100 Years' War.
That's right. Once again, 30 points is up for grabs on French culture with a correct response to this 15-pointer on journalism. What CBS news anchor of the 19...
Churchill.
Walter
Defer.
Say it. Walter Cronkite. You say it.
Walter Cronkite.
That is correct. For 30 points, 10 points each, answer these questions on French culture. First, for 10 points, the Mona Lisa is housed in what museum in Paris?
The
Which
Louvre.
contain the Louvre is correct. For another 10 points, cassoulet is an example of what French cultural export?
Cheese.
It's actually a type of casserole. For the final 10 points, the Tour de France is one of the oldest and most prestigious examples of what world competition?
Yeah. Bicycle racing.
That's correct. Here's a 15-point toss-up on music history, which will lead to a 20-point visual bonus on famous landmarks. Though he was born Vincent Furnier, what rock and roll singer recorded School's Out?
Walter Johnson.
Elvis Cooper.
Say it again.
Elvis Cooper.
Sorry, that's incorrect.
Gene Simmons. Oh no, Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper.
Churchill.
Alice Cooper.
It is Alice Cooper. That's correct. Okay, let's go to the monitor, players. One last time, and here's a 20-point two-part question on famous landmarks. First, here you see the large sandstone formation that is located in the Northwest Territory of what down-under country?
Australia.
Australia's right. And now, by what name do we know this famous landmark?
Ayers Rock.
It is Ayers Rock. Okay? Here's a 15-point toss-up on mathematics, which will earn a chance at a 25-point bonus on common bonds. What is the name for the theorem that states if a continuous function defined on an interval is sometimes positive and sometimes negative, it must be 0 at some point?
Walter Johnson.
Mean value theorem.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect.
Intermediate value theorem.
The intermediate
Churchill.
value theorem.
This is Bolzano's theorem right there, Bolzano's. Okay, we have a 30-point bonus on presidents if you answered this 15-pointer on sports. Though New York and New Jersey hosted the Super Bowl for the first time this year, what state has hosted the big game the most?
Churchill.
Florida.
Florida is correct. Answer each of these 10-point questions by identifying the president whose administration was highlighted by these events. First, Japanese Premier Yoko Hamaguchi is assassinated. Al Capone in prison for tax evasion. Lindbergh baby was kidnapped. Black Tuesday.
Black Tuesday. Hoover. Yeah,
Hoover.
Hoover is correct. Next, Beatles arrive in New York for their first American tour. 3 civil rights workers are murdered in Mississippi. Nikita Khrushchev is forced to resign, and the Watts riot in L.A.
That's right.
LBJ. It's LBJ.
It's LBJ.
Lyndon Johnson.
That's right. And finally, the Concorde supersonic jet makes its first flight between Europe and the United States. The Freedom of Information Act is passed despite a presidential veto. Cambodia falls to the Khmer Rouge, and our nation celebrates its bicentennial.
Ooh,
76. Ford.
Ford is correct. Here's a 15-point local history toss-up to earn a chance at a 20-point geography bonus. Washington, D.C. was designed by what French?
Churchill.
That sound means we have 2 minutes left. It is L'Enfant. Now you earn 10 points for each of these 2 geography questions, specifically on 4-letter countries. First, a railway across the Mekong River connects Thailand with what 4-letter country?
Laos.
Laos is correct. And now, what 4-letter South Pacific country is the birthplace of professional golfer Vijay Singh?
Fiji.
It is Fiji. And here's your final toss-up of the game on military history, giving you a chance at a 30-point bonus on Next in Line. On June 17, 1775, what elevated terrain near Boston was the site?
Churchill.
Bunker Hill.
Bunker Hill.
Bunker Hill is correct. Listen carefully to each list and identify the next in series. Matthew, Mark, Luke.
John.
John is right. Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison.
Cleveland.
Cleveland again. The Sorcerer's Stone. The Chamber of Secrets. The Prisoner of Azkaban.
The Goblet of Fire.
The Goblet of Fire, you know that one. And that's the end of our questions. We'll announce the score in just a minute. But first, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of Quizmaster Challenge, Gladiator Trophies, serving the Washington, D.C. area for nearly 40 years. Rewarding life's victories since 1976 is Gladiator Trophies. And at the end of our match, we have a score of Churchill, 500, to Walter Johnson, 265. We'll welcome them back in 2 weeks to compete in a semifinal match. Stay tuned later this week as we see Whitman competing against Rockville. Until then, I'm your Quizmaster, Kurt Richter, reminding you to always keep learning.